The EEOC, one of the most significant cases brought by the EEOC in the area of disability law was against a outfit out of Iowa, Henry's Turkey. It was actually an outfit out of Texas, but the facility that we were concerned with was in Iowa. What had happened in Henry's Turkey was that Henry's Turkey had transported a number of men with developmental disabilities to a facility in Iowa where they were housed in a former schoolhouse. It's called the bunkhouse. The men lived there for a couple decades. Some of them, very long periods of time. The job they had was turkey evisceration. So they went and they were working as temporary employees at a local turkey evisceration site where they were responsible for pulling the guts out of turkeys. They worked alongside people without disabilities. They were paid a fraction of the amount that the people without disabilities were paid. And I wish I remembered the exact amount, but it was basically something like $40 a month. I mean, it was really next to nothing. And then they were basically brutalized in this bunkhouse, where some of them were, there were testimony that, like, for example, one of them who wanted to just walk around was chained to his bed at night. Others of them were forced to carry a heavy ball around a pole just as an activity if they had been acting out. They were kept in these filthy conditions where they learned to eat with an arm over their head because of the falling vermin and the cockroaches. There was no heat in the facility that was heated by space heaters. And we're talking Iowa, southern Iowa. It is not, I mean, it gets cold. And in the summer it gets hot, and there was no air conditioning. When the men were not treated for their medical conditions, they had things such as diabetes. They had other different conditions that went untreated. When they were basically rescued by a state agency, they had, one of them was wearing shoes that were a couple sizes too big to accommodate his toenails, which had grown so long they had curled over and were cutting into him. It was an incredible case. There's a lot more that you can read about the case. The New York Times, in fact, has a fabulous article called Boys in the Bunkhouse. It links to a video on it, Boys in the Bunkhouse. The attorney who was from the EEOC, Bob Canino, is featured in a book about it that was written by the gentleman who wrote the article for the New York Times. So the case went to trial. The EEOC got an enormous verdict in it, but it's had some difficulties in collecting. But the men were rescued, and the men went off, and many of them are living very good lives, very happy lives, working in the jobs. But unfortunately, some of them were so traumatized they never recovered.